Hello, and welcome to Godly Play. Well, it's Sunday again, August 16th, and I'm really glad that you've decided to join the circle again with us this week. I'm wondering who's with you. I'm wondering if you have anybody new to the circle. If you do, then welcome. It's good to see you. Looking at our calendar, there's the circle of the church year calendar, and here's the mystery of Christmas and the mystery of Easter, which is such a great mystery. We take it for 6 extra Sundays. And here's Pentecost. And in August, we're in the green and growing times after Pentecost. So we are at 11 weeks after Pentecost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 last week, and this week, there we are. 11 weeks. So you can see where we are as we're going forward towards Advent and Christmas. A long time to go still. So take a minute to get ready. Get ready with your body, with your eyes and ears, your mind, your heart. There was once someone who did such wonderful things and said such amazing things that people began to follow him. And as they followed him, they wondered who he was. And they couldn't help themselves. They just had to ask. And one of the times when they asked, he said, "I am the light." Let's enjoy the light. I see the love of God in you, the light of Christ comes shining through, and I am blessed to be with you, O holy child of God. But this light didn't stay in that one place and that one time so long ago, because he changed the light. So it can be in all places and in all times. Watch as I change the light. There it is, spreading out and filling the room. Maybe coming into the room where you are. Certainly being with us wherever we go today in this Godly Play circle. And when you leave the circle, this light will go with you too. So you ready for a story? So this week, our story of Joseph continues. And if you would like to read in the Bible afterwards, you'll find this in the book of Genesis, starting at chapter 39 and going right to chapter 50, which is the last chapter in Genesis. So, the story of Joseph. It's a long one, an important one. Are you ready? Jacob, also named Israel, was part of the great family. And he had many sons. 12 sons. But of all of his sons, Jacob loved Joseph the best. He loved him so much that he had a special coat made for him, long sleeves. It was woven of many, many different colors, so beautiful. Well, his brothers hated him. Now, Joseph also had dreams. In one of his dreams, he and his brothers were in the fields gathering the wheat. And suddenly, the sheaf of wheat that Joseph was gathering stood up on end, and all the wheat sheaves of all his brothers bowed down before his sheaf. When Joseph told his brothers about this, they hated him even more. Did this mean that Joseph was going to rule over them? They'd have to bow down to him? Joseph had another dream, and in this dream, he dreamt that the sun and the moon and the 11 stars all bowed down to him. And when he told this dream to his brothers and his father, they became very angry. What? You are going to be so important that even your father and mother will have to bow down before you? Well, one day, Jacob called Joseph to him. His brothers were out in the far fields looking after the flocks, and Jacob sent Joseph to find out how they were doing. But the brothers, when they saw Joseph coming from afar, they decided that they would kill him. They hated him so much. But Reuben, the oldest son, said, "No, let's not kill him. Let's just put him in a pit." So when Joseph got close, they seized him, and they took off his cloak and threw him into a pit with no water. And as they were sitting, having their lunch, a caravan of slave traders came by. And the brothers said, "Let's not kill him, let's sell him to the traders." So they pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him to the slavers for 20 pieces of silver. When Reuben heard, he was upset. "What will we tell father?" Well, they took the cloak of many colors and they dipped it in goat's blood and took it home to Jacob and said, "Your son Joseph has been killed by a wild animal." Jacob was so heartbroken that he wept. Joseph was carried by the traders into the land of Egypt. And in Egypt, he was sold to the captain of the Pharaoh's guard, a commander named Potiphar. And Joseph worked for him and in his household for many years. But Potiphar's wife had Joseph thrown into prison. And in prison, there were other people who were from the household of the Pharaoh who were also in prison. And they had some dreams that no one understood. Joseph said, "Tell me your dreams." The first, who was a baker, told his dream. And Joseph was able to interpret their dreams for them so that they could understand what they meant. Now, the servants of the Pharaoh were returned to their household. And as they returned, they found out that the Pharaoh was also dreaming dreams that no one could understand. Finally, one of those who had been in prison remembered Joseph and told Pharaoh about him. Pharaoh called for Joseph to be brought before him. Joseph came before Pharaoh, and Pharaoh told his dreams. The dream had two parts. In the first, out of the river Nile came 7 fat, sleek, healthy cows, standing on the side of the river, strong and healthy. And then from the river came 7 thin, mangy, skinny cows, who came and ate all the 7 fat, healthy cows. The other part of the dream, on the corn stalk grew 7 fat and luscious cobs of corn. And then on another branch of the stalk grew up 7 thin, scrawny cobs of corn that swallowed the healthy corn. What could this dream mean? Wondered Pharaoh. Joseph said that God was sending a dream to warn Pharaoh that there will be 7 years of good crops and good harvests, followed by 7 years of famine and want. Joseph told Pharaoh that it was a good thing that Pharaoh was being warned so that he could take precautions and make sure that he was putting aside grain from the good years of harvest so that he could feed the people of Egypt during the years of famine that were to come. Pharaoh was very grateful for Joseph for explaining the dream, and he put Joseph in charge of all harvesting and storing all the grain. Well, the famine did not just come to the land of Egypt. It came to all the lands around Egypt. And during this time of famine, people came from many lands to beg Joseph for food. Jacob, hearing of the plenty in the land of Egypt, sent his sons to Egypt to get food. When the 10 brothers came, they fell on their knees before Joseph to beg for food. And they didn't recognize him, but Joseph knew who they were. He filled their sacks with grain and sent them back, but he kept one of the brothers with him. Later, the whole family returned, including Jacob, and Joseph was able to give them food and land and make sure that they were well fed and well cared for through the whole 7 years of the famine. During this time, Jacob died, and Joseph took him back to his homeland to bury him, and then returned to Egypt. But the children of Joseph became slaves because the Pharaoh, the new Pharaoh, did not remember what Joseph had done for the people of Egypt. And so the people of Israel were slaves. So, I'm wondering which part of this story you like the best. Was it this part? Be sure to tell people who are in the circle with you today why you think that you liked it the best. And I wonder what part of the story you think is the most important. Talk to the people in the circle. How many different parts of the story do people find are most important? And then I wonder where you are in this story. I wonder if the stories of your family are connected in some way to this story. I wonder if you have part of your family that has a lot of children, or if you have dreamers in your story, or if you have people who harvested, or people that were sent away to other countries. I wonder. So here is Joseph, and here are his brothers, the sons of Jacob. Ooh, there's a lot of them. It's a big family. Well, it was a great family. And here's the coat that Jacob made for his favorite son. Ended up covered in goat's blood. And here's the stalk of grain from Joseph's dream. And his other dream. And here's the money that his brothers got for selling him to the slavers. And here's the cow and the corn from the Pharaoh's dream that helped God bring lots of stores of food to Egypt so that all the people could be looked after. Here's the bags. We can imagine them stuffed with grain being taken back home. And this is Egypt, the Pharaoh who made Joseph in charge of all the harvests, and then the pharaohs who'd forgotten what Joseph had done. Long story. I wonder what work you're going to do, and whether you'll be able to share a feast where you are. But before you go, a blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen. See you next week.